that leads us nicely onto Varyflex, the file. So what is the secret to success with Varyflex?
And training and teaching dentists, it became very obvious what the questions were. Depending on what system it was, you'd always have the really good things about that system, and then you'd have the kind of slightly annoying things about that system, like why is the shank so big, or why isn't that one so bendy, or why do we start with the biggest one, shouldn't we start with the smallest one? So I guess I never really had it in my mind for the whole of that time that I wanted to produce my own file systems, but I think it kind of evolved in my head, thinking, you know, just by being around that many dentists and around that many different instruments, thinking it became really quite obvious what we needed to do. So we've produced a couple of systems. We've produced one system which allows you to create a shape using multiple files, and that has different tapers on the files depending on where you want the shaping to be. So literally by taking each of those instruments to the full working length, whether you use 3 or 4 instruments, you will create the shape that's really suitable for getting your root canals clean. And it's important that we're understanding that the actual instruments aren't scraping the walls of the root canals clean. We're literally creating funnels that pour the bleach in. So it takes away quite a lot of the high tech. It's not particularly high tech what we do. We're literally creating funnels to stick bleach in. Yeah. But that takes away a lot of the ambiguity, because sometimes you'll be training dentists, or we'll be using instruments where there's a series of instruments and you start off with a big fat one, and then the next biggest fattest one, and then the next biggest fattest one. At some point one will get to length, but you talk to a big group of dentists who haven't got a lot of experience with rotary files, and everyone's going to do that differently, and so you're creating potential problems and issues. So a system that creates a nice standardized shape by you taking them all to length felt like that was really important, and they need to be flexible. So we need a really nice nickel titanium alloy, but we wanted to heat treat it to a degree that meant it was nicely flexible, not overly flexible, because the thing can get wobbly all over the place if it's too flexible, but if it's too stiff, then you can create all sorts of problems in the root canal. So that was a big part of the alloy, and that was our VFT system. And then there's a huge big movement really to create a single file system, which really gets a lot of people involved in doing rotary endo, because you stick a bunch of files or multiple files in front of somebody. It can be really, really off-putting. And if people are very tenuous about getting into doing rotary filing, that can be a real barrier. So to have a single file system, the premise of a reciprocating system is that that you take away, by it oscillating, you take away a lot of the stress out of the file. Therefore, you can use the one and only file you want to get to the working length and be your ultimate finishing shape. So by that, we've created our VFR system, our Varyflex reciprocating file system. We've got 2 sizes, a 25 or a 40, depending on the root canal. So we have got multiple sizes, again, taking loads of the potential confusion and complication away from it. And then obviously with those systems, well, not obviously, with those systems, we then have matching GP that fits each of those finisher files. You can use your existing endo motor with all of those files, and the motors that we would recommend. So everything sort of has to fit into the existing workflow, and I felt that was important. And a big part of it, stupidly, finding out that the shank, the bit that goes in the handpiece, most companies make it 13 millimeters long, which makes about 3 millimeters stick out the end of your handpiece. And if you're trying to get that into a patient's lower 6 or 7 in the mesial canal, it's hard enough as it is. So why do we do that? And lots of people, well, we've always done it like that, or that's they're made somewhere else, so we get them and stick them on it. It's like, can we make it shorter? How, let's make it 11 millimeters shorter. You've got enough that sticks out the handpiece, so it's not too fiddly. But then anything that comes out the handpiece is file. Amazing how just 2 mil difference just makes that level of ease of use. And actually, that's we strive to produce all this amazing heat-treated alloy in these shapes and make it like this and like this. And probably the biggest feedback I've had, certainly from the specialist side of things, has been, do you know that short shank makes such a big difference? It's just like, okay.